Hey, everybody. Looking forward to catching up with you all tonight, on Wednesdays with Wade here on the Knoxville Raceway page. Hello to Marty Brown. Hello, Keith Feldmeyer. Would love you guys to tell me where you're from as we do this whole thing. So just feel free to let me know where you're watching from. Hello to Michelle Kirkin, Alan Leeson. My name is Wade Aunger. Over the last 5 years, I've been privileged to come over and have some fun at the Knoxville Raceway for the incredible Knoxville Nationals every year and just let loose a little bit. So it's my honor to do Wednesday nights, just tell some stories, celebrate some people. Hello to Denise Flattery, Kelly Self, Brad Balling as well. So yeah, just keen to tell some stories. LVG in Warrnambool, very cool. Tony Grimius from Minnesota, home of the Vikings. So looking forward to chatting with everyone. Now, over the next half an hour to an hour, hello, Jennifer Nunakoven. Wonderful to catch up with you. We're going to talk about Moyle Racing Engines very soon. Johnny Stead as well. Feel free to ask Peyton and also Carson some questions if you have any that you'd like to ask them, or some suggestions, or even just a story you might want to share. I really love sort of making it very personal. Hello to Anthony Buffington, Jennifer Peterson, Heish, if I've said that right, Heish, probably haven't said that right. Dallas Gadavy, Lynn Mann, Leonard, etc., etc. Great to have your company. Great news is earlier today, Knoxville Raceway announced their schedule for 2021. I think it's only about like 184 sleeps or something like that. Now, I have some of the key dates that we need to keep an eye out for. Just going to quickly read through a couple of them. April 16, practice night and the season push-off party. Then the Pella Motors Craig Ford season opener for the Knoxville Championship Series on April 17. Cannot wait. Knoxville Championship Series on the 24th of April, then May 1, May 8, 15, and through we go. But some of the big ones, of course, to keep an eye out for. June 12, the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series plus 360s as well on June 11 and 12. Then, of course, Salute the Troops night on July 3, free admission for all military members. And then coming up on July 9 and 10, I love this event, massive. Brant Professional Agriculture Corn Belt Nationals. Brady Bacon lays it all on the line. It was really cool to catch up with Brady and his wife, Ziziana, last week. They were our first guests on the program. But the biggie coming up, of course, in April, that incredible week that kicks off, or really 10 days it kicks off with the My Place Hotels 360 Nationals presented by Great Southern Bank. That rolls on August 5, 6, and 7. And then, of course, August 8, the Capitani Classic presented by Great Southern Bank as well. Then it's August 11, 12, 13, and 14. The NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals presented by Casey's General Stores. Very cool to see, too, that Casey's have just rolled out with their new logo, which is attracting plenty of discussion as well, that's for sure. So, really cool to catch up with you. I'm in Mildura, Victoria, Australia right now, and it is about 11:35 a.m. on Thursday morning. So we're actually like 14 hours or something like that in front of you guys. It's a little bit like Back to the Future, isn't it? We're going to cross from Mildura, where it's currently 30 degrees Celsius. So I think it's about 80 or somewhere like that in Australia right now. We're just coming into our spring. Summer's coming up very soon as well. We're going to cross to Altoona, Iowa right now and catch up with our second group of special guests after last week's show. It was cool to do the couple perspective with Brady and also with Ziziana, and now we're going to do the same thing with Carson McCarl and his beautiful fiance, Peyton Dollansky. So let's try this. Let's just see if we can rip to Altoona, Iowa. Gotta love technology, don't you? Let's do this. Oh, they're sideways.
Uh-oh.
Wouldn't be the first time you've been on your side, mate.
No, it is not.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Oh, mate, I'm really good when I'm talking to people like you. I love, there's been a lot of uncertainty and all that BS this year in 2020, but one thing we have all done better is connect with people. And I think that opportunities like this for us to talk on either side of the world has been one of the positives, Carson and Peyton.
No, absolutely. Yeah, the COVID deal hasn't been good in a lot of ways, but it's opened up, a lot of unique opportunities like this. So yeah, I'm glad you see it half full like we do, and it makes it a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Now, I got to say, before we get started, what do you think of my? I'm actually sitting in the bleachers at Knoxville. Can you tell?
It's pretty good. It's pretty cold and windy right now, but it looks pretty calm
Yeah,
at the racetrack. So,
And I'm pretty warm. I got to
yeah.
go short sleeve. But I got to say, your backdrop is intriguing. It looks very Indigenous Australian to me, Peyton.
It is, yeah. It is inspired by that. My mom actually painted this painting for me, and she got it kind of the idea from an Australian painting that she saw over there.
Wow. I thought maybe Carson had been finger painting or something like that.
Yeah, polka dots.
Finger painting's about all I can do. That's the best I can do for sure.
I'm really glad that you mentioned your mom as well, Peyton, because both of you guys have, I got to say it, pretty good looking parents. Like you both have, like, you kind of have, I mean, your dad is like there's Andy Hillenberg and Craig Dollansky, I think, as man crushers in the world of sprint car racing, Peyton. And I think both of your mums are very beautiful too. So they're both like magazine cover couples.
Yeah, we come from good genes, that's for sure, especially Peyton.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to just bounce a number of different things around this, just from where you both met to your lives coming up in the sport. You really, neither one of you had any chance, did you? You were always going to be around sprint cars.
That's been my plan since day one for sure. I've wanted to do my whole life is be a, professional sprint car driver. So it's nice to be able to live out that dream right now. And, we're just enjoying it every day. And, I think, I don't think Peyton planned on marrying a race car driver, but here she is. So
not quite, but I did grow up around it and I loved it. And I've always wanted to be at the racetrack, and I've always traveled with my parents. So it's been a lot of fun getting to travel with Carson and go to the races and support him now too.
I think that's probably the cool part about sprint car racing as well, guys, compared to other professional forms of sport where, say, the NBA or Major League Baseball, it would have been very difficult for players and athletes to bring their families on the road. Whereas we're very fortunate. Most of our families in the professional world take their families on the road.
Yeah, the beginning part, of my childhood, my dad was racing locally a lot too. Till I was about 12 years old, he hit the road with the Outlaws. So, I got to go to pretty much every race with him back then. And then, pretty much when the school bell would ring at the end of August or, the end of, we'd hop on the motorhome and head off for the summer. So, it's been a lot of fun. I know, Peyton got to do the same thing. So we've got pretty much the same childhood story, just weren't with each other.
I'm intrigued about how you met thing. And I just, for some reason, I'm thinking that you're laid back on the car. You're kind of just chilling. You got your race suit on. Your hair's immaculate. Mum is fussing over you. And suddenly Peyton walks past and you kind of do the, how you doing?
Yeah.
Was it kind of like that?
I wish I was that cool. I really did, but no, I'm a total dork. So no, that's not how it went at all. But luckily, she thought I was kind of funny and maybe thinks I'm a little good looking too. And I got a little lucky there. So, but no, not that cool. I wish.
What was she wearing? Her dad's shirt? This is attention to detail here, Carson. What was she wearing the first time you saw her?
I wasn't her dad's shirt. Peyton's not a big race shirt person, but
okay.
No, it was at the Nationals in 2016, and we hung out for a little bit, and honestly, the rest is history. We've been together ever since.
So what was he doing, Peyton, when you first locked eyes on this man hunk from Altoona?
I don't know. I'm trying to think back. I feel like he was just kind of mingling around, and we just kind of met and hit it off from there, and the rest is history.
It's a very intensive environment around the McCarl cars. There's always a lot of things going on. There's usually multiple cars. There's usually someone like Doug Rankin trying to pull your old man into line in some way. And Mum rolls those incredible like NASCAR wife sunglasses and the studded jeans and the whole bit, adds a bit of glamour to it while Dad is just a tornado. Is that a fair call?
Yeah, kind of. We like to keep it interesting. It gets a little intense, but we just want to win. We're not there to have fun or make friends. We're there, to do a job and to make as much money as possible and get the job done for all of our sponsors and everybody like that. So, I think away from the racetrack, we're really calm, really cool people. But when we're at work, we got a job to do and we like to get down to work. But luckily, Peyton's a good sport about it. And, Craig's pretty intense too when it comes to racing. So she's pretty used to it that way too. So it all works out pretty good.
I have a funny story about your dad when he raced down in Australia. And he made a comment that I think I asked him at one of the classic breakfasts that we had, was there ever a time where you wondered why you were doing this or why you were a race car driver? And down in Australia, we call drivers up to the dummy grid. Like, can all drivers report to the dummy grid? And he said he remembers sitting in the car going, dude, what now? Like, are we really dummies? Is that what this thing's all about? And you raced in Australia numerous times. Do you have good memories of that, Peyton?
Yeah, I do. We actually got to go back to New Zealand this last year, which was really awesome for us. I went there when I was a lot younger, and going back and getting to see all those tracks again and getting to see those people again was really awesome for us. I haven't been to Australia since I was probably like 8 years old or so, but going to the dummy grid at the racetrack was funny, and getting to hear all the different terminology that they use was fun. But yeah, getting to see all those new sites or the old sites that we saw back in the day were awesome.
What are mum and dad doing these days, Peyton?
They're back at home in Minnesota getting ready for the winter. My dad's kind of planning on doing some plowing this winter, so doing some snow removal, and just kind of my mom's working her normal day job and he's getting ready to do some plowing, so he's still driving something.
Yeah. Isn't this about the time you normally head down to Mexico or something like that, Carson? Isn't it the incredible family holiday, the vacation you guys have? It's like, holy cow, it's just like incredible vacation time.
Yeah, usually around this time, around November, us, and we're really good friends with the Ophils and the Hefners. And we usually kind of head down to Mexico. But me and Peyton are going on our honeymoon after our wedding. So we're going to skip that trip and just save our money for that one.
And where are you getting married? How's this all happening? Is it, you're not at the racetrack? Please don't tell me you're getting married.
No.
No, we'll be getting married here in Iowa. We'll be having our ceremony here by Altoona, and then we'll be having our reception downtown Des Moines. So beautiful. Coming up quick though in March.
So who is the most romantic of you two?
I would say probably me.
I was going to say, I think Carson.
I'm a bit of a romantic. I'm a softie.
Yeah.
Despite what people might think about us, I'm a little bit of a softie. I'm a romantic.
Knows how to treat his lady. I like that. So
yeah.
So how did he propose, Peyton? What was the system there?
So it's funny. We were spending the weekend up in Minnesota. We had been in Kansas City for our anniversary at a concert, and then we went up to see my parents in Minnesota. And he was acting all weird, and I kind of was wondering why he was being so weird. And then we were on our way home, and when we got home, he had the house all decorated and had it all ready to go. And when I came inside, he was down on one knee.
Wow, look at you. Was there a trail of rose petals and stuff and all that?
Yeah, there was rose petals, there's everything.
Clearly, you are your mother's son. I can imagine that, because it is your mum and dad's 31st wedding anniversary today. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You don't get that for murder down here in Australia, being married to Terry McCarl. Oh my gosh, Laurie, you are a saint. I can't believe you did that.
That's for sure.
There is a very strong sense of family, that is inherent in your DNA, Carson. The McCarls are fiercely loyal, very close, tight-knitted family, much like the Dollanskys as well.
Yeah, we're all, we're all one big team. Me, Austin, and my dad all work out of the same shop, and, we all help each other, and, we do whatever we can for each other. So, we're all best friends. Austin's my best friend, and we just have a lot of fun. It gets intense at the racetrack, but at the end of the night, we're all usually running pretty good, and that's, what we're there to do. So, it's a lot of fun. We're really close. I talk to my brother and dad every single day. So, I'm pretty blessed that way, and, I hope we can keep it going for years to come.
I would imagine that sprint car racing is a good leveler with your battles with the big unit, because in the backyard playing basketball, I got to say, I'm not going to back you on that one. Physical sport, he's a pretty empowering dude, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's a big guy. He's about 6'4". I don't know. I don't want to comment on his weight. I don't know what he is right now, but he's sensitive about that. But no, he's a big guy, and he was a really good athlete. That really just wasn't my thing growing up. I wasn't much of an athlete or anything like that. I like to get on the racetrack. That's where I did my best work, not really on the court or anything like that. But so yeah, we definitely I got a better shot at him on the racetrack than I do on the basketball court. That's for sure.
Let's go back and talk about your granddad, who's one of the true legends of the sport. who passed away not so long ago and left a huge void in the Iowan sprint car community. And a guy that used to work on jets in the Air Force back in the day.
Yeah, that guy could do it all. You know, he built his own cars, built his own motors, built his own parts. You know, it's kind of cool, back in the day, when he was racing and owned his own team, he couldn't just, get on allstar.com and, order a bunch of stuff and have it shipped to you the next day. If you broke your stuff, you had to make it yourself. And that's kind of a lost art, that we have, these days. And but that's really cool. I get to see a lot of the stuff he did back in the day. And my dad has his very first car that he drove for Daryl Aaron, and it was a Leonard McCarl car. And, so a lot of good, he was a heck of a craftsman, a heck of a body man, and a heck of a mechanic. So yeah, we definitely, we miss him. We wish we, had some of his knowledge still around here today.
1975, it was second in the track championship. And then, if I'm just looking at my research there, went on to become a two-time track champion as a car owner with a couple of legends in Randy Smith and Rocky Hodges. So his legacy beyond your family obviously runs deep as well. Yeah.
1975, I think, was one of his best years. I'd have to ask my dad, but, I've seen a lot of victory lane photos from 1975. He had a really good year that year. And I think one of those years, in the early 80s, I think the top 3 or 4 in Knoxville points were all running Leonard McCarl cars, which was a really big deal, back then. So, I wish I had more time to learn some stuff from him and, maybe learn how to weld and stuff like that. But, I'm glad for the time, and it's good to have the memories.
1985, inducted into the Knoxville Raceway Hall of Fame, which is something that obviously your dad, is greatly honored by as well.
Yeah, my dad's in the Hall of Fame, and so is he in the Knoxville Hall of Fame. That's really cool. Hopefully me and my brother can join him there someday. And 1985, I think that's when my dad first started racing. So, that was, a pretty good year, and had a lot of fun. So, yeah, hopefully, me and Austin can keep doing what we're doing and join them in the Hall of Fame someday.
Now, when you started racing, obviously every kid in America wants to start under the age of 10. If you're going to get moving, you got to get moving. And you're about 8 years old with karts out at English Creek, or English Creek. If you're from Ohio, for some reason they say creek. What is up with that? And wash the car. That's another weird one.
That's more Minnesotan.
Is that
the car? But
do you wash the car?
I call it English Creek. I don't know the difference between a creek and a creek, but I call it English Creek. And me and Austin started racing when we were 8, and down in Waterloo and doing some Coke syrup stuff indoors. My dad was always racing during the summer. So during the winter, we'd go race 4 or 5 times. And then I think the summer of 2007 or 8, me and Austin got micros and went to English Creek. And our good friend Glenn Freeland and my uncle Kenny McCarl took us racing for a couple of years. And it was a lot of fun. We both won a lot of races and had a lot of fun. So that's just kind of, where we got our feet wet and really started, actually, racing cars and getting serious about it.
The big unit in a micro. He obviously wasn't very tall then.
He was probably as tall as I am now. Back then, he was like 5'9" in like 4th grade. So, but no, we got him in there. We shoved him in there somehow.
Your transition from that stuff into a 305 was absolutely pivotal. And I want to talk to you about 305 racing, because you won your first night out and then won the track championship, unless my information from Eric is wrong, and I'm sure it won't, because Eric knows his stuff. What a way to start, mate.
Yeah, I started racing in 2011 when I was 16. You talk about, a lot of guys starting a lot younger. My dad didn't start until he was almost 21 years old, and he didn't really want me to start until, I was 16. That was kind of Cappy's rule. My dad wanted to honor that, and, just didn't think, I needed to be in a race car anytime before then. So, 2011, it was a lot of fun. I definitely didn't expect to win, but, we had a good night. We were able to get the job done, and it was kind of, a little easier after that. And we're, able to rack off a couple more wins and win the championship that year. And that was a lot of fun. That was a really fun year for, the whole family. So, I'm really happy for that. We've been, going strong ever since.
I can't even imagine what your parents would have been like that night that you won the first night out. Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm sure my mom handled it a little better than my dad did. He had to race that, the next race and stuff like that. So I don't know how much he got to see, but no, it was a big night for all of us, and a night I'll never forget for sure.
Peyton, did you ever have any dreams of getting behind the wheel, like in following Dad's footsteps at all?
I actually did race a micro a little bit. I remember my first time racing was at Jackson during the Outlaw show, and I remember Carson was walking through the pits, and I remember seeing him and getting all nervous because I thought he'd see me in my micro, and if I messed up, I was going to be nervous. So I actually raced about 10 times in micro, but after that, I decided I was just going to be a race fan instead.
Yeah, wow. Do you still love the sport as much as you ever did, Peyton? You know, is it still deep in your heart?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Live and breathe racing for sure. I wouldn't want to do anything else for sure.
It's a hard thing to explain to people who aren't fans, isn't it? Because it's loud. It can be dusty, although not very often at Knoxville. And the Duncans do a phenomenal job with that racetrack. I've never seen that place dusty. But it's not a very, to a rookie, if you bring someone new in, particularly a woman, and you're not taking them to a suite, you kind of go, "Ooh, are they going to like it or are they not?" And yet for us, it's all we know, and it's the best way of life, isn't it?
Right, for sure. I always know my true friends are going to be the ones that are ready to go sit in the stands, get a little dirt tossed on them for sure.
The sport has been dangerous at times for both of your families, and there's been some big wrecks, and your dad in particular, you know, with his back injuries, Peyton, that had to be a really scary time.
Yeah, it definitely has its risks and it's got its rewards, and it can be tough at times, but it also can be super rewarding at times. And getting to travel and do what we love is awesome. And I am super thankful that I get to do it still with Carson and his family. And so it can be scary at times, but it's definitely rewarding too.
Your dads are so different from the outside looking in. You know, Craig's got those piercing ice blue eyes that are looking around. He never seems to say a lot until he says a lot. Whereas Gary, you can hear him on the other side of the pits, and he's got something to say. He's going to tell you. So they're very different. But are they the same in any way apart from sprint cars?
I don't know. I'd say they're kind of the same. You know, I don't know. They both, you know, love what they do, and you know, love their kids and love their family and everything like that, and just want to do the best for them. So yeah, I'd say outside of the racetrack, you know, they're both pretty just chill, normal guys. You know, just once they get to the racetrack, they're there to do their thing.
Yeah, I mean, and Craig ran with the Outlaws at a really iconic time as well. Like, my goodness, you know, the King was still rocking the boards, and you had those superstars like Mark Kinzer as well. And I saw a really cool thing on Carl the other day. He's in his 80s now, and my goodness, he's still such a great character. Carl Kinzer is one of the greatest crew chiefs of all time, isn't he, mate?
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
You must have some memories. I mean, you were only been very young when Dad was out on the road, Peyton, I would imagine, when he was in his prime, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was pretty young, but I do remember traveling with Mark Kinzer and his kids and hanging out with the Hogs and all them. And it was a great time. And I loved traveling in the motorhome and getting to hang out with all the families and stuff and getting around all those awesome sprint car drivers. It's really cool to be a part of that history and stuff now, like being able to see all those guys race.
I did say when he was in his prime, that's really unfair because he's still very much a competitive person and he's still on the gas. So crowd pleaser, don't come looking for me later. He'll be like, "Hey, at Knoxville next year at the Nationals, remember what you said about my prime?" When you went to 360s, that was a logical step. But tell me, is the 305 a good starting point, Carson? Because it seems to be where you learn.
I think so. Yeah, you know, it's a good starting point, you know, for someone, you know, to get the feel of a race car and stuff like that. And, you know, these days, you know, they still go pretty fast and, you know, just kind of get the feel for the racetrack. You know, Knoxville can be a pretty demanding place and not very forgiving either, you know, if you mess up. So, you know, if you're getting started, you know, I do see some people jump right into the 410s. And, you know, for some people that works great. For not, you know, some people I feel like, you know, might discourage them a little bit. So I think, you know, just kind of depends on the person, their talent level coming in. But, you know, it definitely doesn't hurt to get your feet wet, you know, with the 305. And, you know, it's a lot more economical with the cost and everything like that. You can get away, you know, with some used tires and stuff like that. So, but when you come to Knoxville, you always got to have horsepower no matter what you got in the hood. So, but I think, no, I think it's a good stepping stone for people for sure.
From the outside, Carson, it seems to be that you learn to keep the front wheel straight because you can't afford to scrub off any speed. If you get that thing sideways, all your momentum is gone. So it probably teaches you, I'm guessing, to keep a car straight.
Yeah, you know, you got to keep it really straight. And, you know, once you get into the 410 class, you know, at Knoxville and even the 360 class, you know, it gets so fast up there, you know, you just learn how to go really fast. And, you know, that's important for some people. And then, you know, holding it straight, I tell people all the time, you know, Knoxville, you know, it's not easy to win, but it's kind of a little easier to drive compared to some places. You know, you got to just hold it really straight and, you know, just be hammered down on that cushion a lot of times. So, I tried to, I hopefully next year, we're going for the 410 championship, but hopefully can do a lot more racing outside of Knoxville too. And we like to get a little sideways every once in a while too, hit some short tracks.
Australia has had some phenomenal sprint car talent over the years, and in most recent times, of course, the Madsons. Brooke has been over there for a lot of years as well. James McFadden, Jamie Beale has been over there a bit as well. It's a lot of guys doing a great job. But before all those guys, there was a guy called Jamie Moyle that used to get around there pretty nice in a Snickers car, amongst many others. And he probably doesn't get the credit he deserves of being one of America's best engine builders. And I know that you know that because you do his motors.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jamie Moyle builds my 360s and my 410s. And he does an absolute great job. Him and his right-hand man, Keaton, the shop is just, spotless clean all the time. And they just do an absolute great job. He's very professional and takes super good pride in his work. And, he won't let any engine, leave that shop unless it's perfect. And he does a really great job. And I think we've been showing that, the last few years. My dad got in them in 2015 and won the 360 Nationals a couple of times with them. And, I've won 2 championships at Knoxville with them. And I'm really excited for see what this Moyle 410 can do.
Him and Jen, I think, go on the Mexican trips as well, don't they? They're all part of the party crew.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. Moyle's, they're great friends. They're great people. And, I'm happy to be associated with them.
Absolutely. So tell me about the track championships. Is one more satisfying than the other? You back to back, which is phenomenal in itself. And I know we got cut short a little bit this year, but is one or the other more satisfying? And if so, why?
No, I think, they're both about the same. Last year was maybe a tiny bit more special because, it was the very first time, first season with our new team. And we kind of were just getting started out. I didn't even have an engine until about 2 days before opening night, so we were scrambling. So to go from not knowing if you're going to be able to, even race the season to going to winning the championship was a really big deal for us and was really special. And then, this year, once you win, my grandpa Leonard always says, winning's like shaving. Once you start, you got to do it every day. You look like a bum. So, we couldn't, come back and run second. So I'm really happy that we got the job done. And, I'm really excited to move up to 410s, again, full time next year. We won the Rookie of the Year there in 2018. And, we've had some decent success in the 410 deal. And I'm really excited. Brown and those guys and my dad and Austin are really strong. But I think if Moyle can get this engine dialed in, I can get this car right, that, I think we can be right up there with them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brutally competitive thing, the 410. Obviously, that's where you aim to be. But at the same time, it's pretty inspiring that you do your own thing, and it's a risk. You got to put your own, what's on the line, your own money on the line, and all that stuff. And I was really excited for Austin this year because I'm a great friend and a great supporter of Brandon Eichenberry. And there's a kid who, I say kid, but there's a guy who's been helping everybody else for such a long time, and he had to put his kahunas on the block as well and put his deal together. So I was thrilled for him as well. And sometimes you got to take that chance.
Yeah, it's a big risk, but you got to have the risk for the reward for sure. You're not going to, get anywhere in life without taking some risks here and there. So it was something, I didn't necessarily want to do, but I was kind of, had no other option. And luckily, I got great supporters like John Whitaker with Jetco Electric and Don Aunger with Telephone Company, and a lot of good guys, came on board and, gave me what I needed to be successful. And, it's been a long haul from the start, but, we're finally, getting a good nucleus underneath us to where, we can compete day in and day out. And that's really exciting. And, Brandon's a great guy. Yeah, he's been good friends with us. He started working for my dad in 2009 and worked for us for a few years. And he's been around the block a few times, and him and Austin got a really good thing going. So I'm excited for the future for all of us.
Now, I always get nervous when I get asked questions, and I haven't run them past you yet. But I got to check if I'm going to say this right. Is it Pottawatomie County?
But that's a little inside joke with me and John Whitaker from Jetco. We went to a bags tournament at Knoxville a few years ago, and I was joking that I was the Pottawatomie County champion, and we got smoked pretty bad in that bags tournament. My accolades did not back up very good, but we had a lot of fun.
Now you need to explain, and maybe Peyton, you can do this, because Aussies, unless you go over to America, bags is a concept that is a little foreign to us, and the amount of time people spend playing it, like they just could be there all day in the front yard or out the front of the motorhome. And they had that big tournament at the Nationals last year inside one of the barns. Like, what is bags, Peyton? Please explain.
I mean, I call it cornhole, but I think that's just because I've been living in Iowa for the last 4 years. But that thing at Nationals was a really awesome deal that Lex Mills and the Steve King Foundation put together.
Yeah.
And so it was part of a thing that they donated the money to the Steve King Foundation. And so that one went a little bit longer, but I don't know, I'm not a real big bags champion.
I don't really know the rules. I wish I would have, because we got smoked pretty bad in that tournament. We were out in about 10 minutes. There was about 50 of them there. So so we got some redemption to do next year, I guess. But yeah, bags, just, it's drinking some beer, throwing some bags around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with bags because the term cornhole in Australia, it runs
I
a little
don't
bit.
know where that came from or what that means, but I'm not going to dig into it.
No, literally, I think that's a really good idea. Mate, what's it like being, it's been your whole life. You don't know any different. Being a McCarl has its upsides, that you have the opportunity, but you have to do it and make it with yourself. Dad can attract some fairly polarizing attention. You either love to hate Terry, you love to hate Brown. The fans are very divided. They're very passionate about both sides. What's that been like for you?
It's just all I really know, I guess. Growing up back in the day, especially at Houston Speedway, the crowd would get real rowdy up there. My dad would always get them really fired up. And when I was a kid, it was you were either a Sosky fan or a McCarl fan. And it's kind of the same now with Brown and everything. You're either a Brown fan or a McCarl fan. And I think that's cool. My dad likes to WWE it up, and get the crowd going and get it, he's not afraid, to be the bad guy and get the crowd going. And that makes it a lot of fun for everybody. You love him or hate him, but, you're coming to see him. So it's a lot of fun.
I think it was Paul Stanley from KISS who said, if you love us, God love you. If you hate us, God love you. But don't be in the middle. Like do one or the other. And I think that's pretty well the way it rolls with T-Mac. Pricey has just asked me, or Whitey's just asked me a good question. How was it starting next to Austin during the 360 Nationals this year?
It was really cool. A few years ago in 2016, I made the show and I started right next to my dad. And this year I started right next to Austin. And we went at it pretty hard there for a few laps. And, I think me and him probably raced each other a little harder than everybody else. I try not to. He's definitely the last person in the field I want to crash or anything like that. So I try to be, nice to him. But, I think we put on a pretty good show for the fans and throw some pretty good sliders on each other. So that was a lot of fun. But, no, it's pretty cool. Me and Austin, both living out our dreams and getting to do what we love.
So if I checked your Spotify's right now, if you had to hit like shuffle on Spotify, because I'm assuming that's where it's rolling, or it might even be old school iPod, what kind of music would I find on your phone, Peyton?
On my phone, I've got a whole mixture of stuff. I can go from rock to country to rap. I don't know. I've got a whole mix.
What about you, Carso?
I'm pretty much the same. I like everything, anything's good, if it's good to me. So I don't know, probably a little more on the country or the rock and roll side. But yeah, Peyton, she's all over the board for sure.
Go from the 80s to country.
Good girl. 80s. Good girl.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Good gosh. I knew there was something I liked about you, Dollansky. You're not gonna hyphenate your name, are you? You're not gonna be like Peyton Dollansky McCarl, are you? Or are you?
No, I'm switching full blown to McCarl now.
Craig's pretty disappointed about it, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, well, just don't screw up. You'll be fine, Carson. If not, you'll end up dead. Okay. What do you like on race day, Carson? I'll ask you. Is race day different for you in terms of your mindset, the way you go about things? And then I'll ask Peyton the same question. Do you think you're a different person?
No, I'm pretty relaxed. I'd like to say I'm probably the most relaxed at all three of us. I don't know if everybody else would agree with that, but I'm pretty calm, the whole time, and just, you're there to do a job and, just do your thing. And if everything's right, you'll be fine. So I'd say I'm pretty chill, I joke around and stuff during the races and everything. And then, once you flip that shield down, then it's time to get to business. But before that, we all got in this to avoid day jobs. So, might as well, make it a little fun. So no, I like to have fun before the races.
Peyton, is that a fair call, or can you notice sometimes that he's a little bit quieter?
Yeah, for sure. I think Carson's always in good spirits at the racetrack and always lightening the mood and making sure everybody's laughing and having fun and making sure we're enjoying the time that we're at the racetrack and stuff. He's always pretty lighthearted.
What about your dad? What's he like on race day? Is he different at all?
You talking to me or
either
my
one?
dad?
Let's do both.
My dad's the same all the time. Yeah, I don't know. No, he's pretty much the same. He's laughing, having a good time, and then same thing. Once the drivers' meeting's done, it's time to get the business, and he's there. That he demands perfection and he wants to win. So, and that makes it fun for everybody else too. If the crew guys and the sponsors, everyone's having a lot more fun. If you're winning.
Yeah. What about you, Peyton, with Dad?
My dad's a pretty intense guy all the time, so I feel like he never really turns the intensity off. Even when he gets to the racetrack, he's just kind of always in that mood. But no, he's always having fun too, and smiling and giggling and making jokes and stuff at the racetrack every once in a while. But yeah, he's a pretty intense guy, especially when he gets to the racetrack.
He's quiet intense, whereas Terry is hand grenade intense. Like he's loud tense. And there's a difference, isn't there? There's a different intensity between the two of them. They still want that ambition and that drive, but they just approach it different ways, I would think.
Mm-hmm. No, I'd say so. No, they're pretty similar, but also a little different.
Have you raced against your father-in-law much?
I actually have never raced against Craig. I've never had the opportunity. I think, maybe we might have been in the same race, but kind of in opposite ends of the field, never really got to battle with each other or anything like that. So hopefully you never know with Craig, you might see him in a race car here and there. You never know with old Craig, what he's up to. And hopefully maybe do see him in a race car someday and get to battle with him a little bit. That'd be pretty cool to trade some sliders with the crowd pleaser. Until
you got together with him.
Yeah.
That could be a little bit.
I got good brakes. We'll be all right.
Oh, nice work. Now, obviously, your dad promotes at Oski as well, and the Front Row Challenge is a great event based on that WWE style that you were talking about. And I think that Terry learned a lot when he was down in Australia too about the way we like to promote to the fans and deliberately get everybody up and about. You must learn a lot too about the other side of racing, being on the promoter side of the fence.
Yeah, no, that's something he really enjoys. And, we're coming up on the 26th annual Front Row Challenge this year, the beginning of August. So looking forward to that. And, it's something he really enjoys and he's really good at. He's really good at, getting the fans, excited. And I think, he did go to Australia and kind of see, how they play the music and the beach balls and get everybody fired up. And I think that's something that, they really didn't do back in America too much. It's just kind of just dead time in between the races. And, he doesn't want any of that, if there's any dead time, during track prep, he's throwing stuff to the crowd and getting everybody fired up. And that's something really cool that he does that I think, I always tell him that I wish I could run the Front Row Challenge, more often because he's always giving away rear ends and wheels and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, I've won a bunch of heat races. I've never got nothing, but I remember one year in the early, about 2007 or 8, he gave away a chassis kit for each heat race winner. So it was basically,
wow.
$5,000 to win a heat race, and he's giving away rear ends and tires and, steering gears and all kinds of cool stuff. So he's, he's really big into that. And, I've been kind of going under his wing here the last few years and, really learning the ins and outs on how to, promote a big race like that. And it's a lot of work, but, hopefully someday, me and Peyton can, take it over and keep it as big as it is now.
A honeymoon in Australia would be nice. Just
That's a heck of a flight, though. I like Mexico's like 3.5 hours,
When the international borders get opened up again in the future, I know that, Carson, you reached out to me last year and talked about the idea of racing in Australia. That's something that you clearly would like to do.
Absolutely. We have a lot of good friends in Australia and, I've always heard really good things about it. I try to stay up as much as I can to watch the pay-per-views. I usually kind of fall asleep before the features, but the tracks are really cool there. Warrnambool looks really awesome. Reminds me a lot of Houston Speedway back here. And, unfortunately, I'll never get I don't really know the exact how it's working right now, but, won't be able to, race Parramatta, which is a giant bummer. But, there's a lot of really great racetracks down there. And my dad's had some success and so has Craig. And they have always, talked really highly of it. So it's something that I really have a lot of interest in doing. And hopefully, next year, everything opens back up and I'd love to, see what we can do down there.
All right. I'm going to play a little bit of couples quiz here. So Peyton, what is Carson's favorite food?
His favorite food, I'd have to say, is lasagna.
Oh, you're a Garfield guy. Garfield the cat.
Oh, yeah. Big. My grandma's Italian. She makes the best lasagna. Big lasagna guy.
Is that right? So tell me about the Italian connection to side of your family, because I didn't know that.
Yeah, my grandma's 100% Italian, so my mom's 50%, and I got a little more. I got my grandma Judy's Irish in me. I don't have much of the Italian in me, but Yeah, there's a little bit in there. I definitely love pasta and pizza, so I got that going for me.
All right. So what's Peyton's favorite food?
Geez, I don't know. Probably chicken spadini from our restaurant there in Latin King in Des Moines. I don't know. She's that's what I would have to say. I'm not
Good
sure.
guess.
What's Peyton's favorite movie?
Either Fool's Gold or geez, I don't even know.
Come on, keep trying.
That's,
That was
that's
good.
a-
That's a good one. What about another one? Come on.
geez, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Fool's Gold's probably my
That's
favorite.
pretty a good one.
Mhm.
Oh,
Okay.
The Grinch.
The Grinch, good one.
Oh wow, the Grinch. Rightio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a mutual favorite.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Okay. So Peyton, what is Carson's favorite movie?
I don't know for sure. I'd say probably Rocky is one of his top
Ooh.
favorites. I'd have to say that's one
Do
of his
like
favorites.
Rocky. That is a good one. Get you fired up.
So you can run upstairs and like throw down raw eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
no.
we got him on the raw egg diet.
Oh yeah, fair enough. So when you finally win the nationals and you're looking around for Peyton and you're trying to get up on top of the car, you need to go Peyton, like kind of like Adrian,
I hope
right?
so.
Yeah.
I hope so. That would be a good moment. Anytime if I don't care how it goes down if we win the nationals.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't thank you guys enough for your time tonight. I'm hoping you're safe. You look great, and I can't wait to see the wedding photos next year and all that groovy stuff, and the vacation photos that your mum and dad and everyone will flood Facebook with, and we'll all sit there and go, "Really? You're sitting there doing that?" It's such an important part that you play in our sport, Carson. You're the future of it, mate. So you and Austin and all those newcomers that they're painting their own stories, their own Indigenous art on the wall at Knoxville. It's important. So kudos to you, mate. You do a great job. You work your sponsors well, you present well, and you speak well. And you two are a glamour couple of our sports. So you're important, mate. Hope you know that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate everything you guys do and everything Knoxville does for us. They give us a great place to race every weekend. They really spoil us with how nice everything is and how professional all the officials are and everything. So, it's the greatest place, in the world to race. And I'm very honored that it's only 30 minutes from my shop. So, can't thank all those guys for everybody that do, all our sponsors, Jetco and everybody that helps us get to the racetrack. And I'm really excited for the future. Hopefully next year, everything's wide open and we can go to Australia and do some racing and, get some, some solid races in here, get the nationals back, everything like that. So I'm really excited and, thank you for having us on.
It's Disneyland for sprint car fans. That's what Knoxville is. There's no doubt about that. I need to send you guys some methanol moonshine apparel and throw you some of my shirts and tanks and probably a hoodie or two because it's going to get cold in Iowa. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but
yeah, I know it's coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for your time,
Sounds
guys.
good.
Have a wonderful night and good to catch up and be safe, eh?
All
Sounds
right,
good.
thank
Thanks,
you so
Wade.
much.
Have a good one.
See you guys. That was really cool to catch up with Carson McCarl and Peyton Dollansky on our Wednesday nights with Wade. Hope you enjoyed that. Really exciting news about the Knoxville Raceway season kicking off. We spoke before about the dates for the Knoxville Nationals as well. Carson's just trying to get himself out of the picture just there. So, yeah, looking forward to you guys seeing what the season has ahead. Just want to mention some of those key dates real quick for you now. First night will be the Pella Motors Craig Ford season opener on April 17. Throw in, of course, the Brant Professional Agriculture Corn Belt Nationals on July 9 and 10. And then the big one, the Granddaddy, August, pretty well 5 through to 13 and 14th when you have the 360 Nationals as well as the NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Knoxville Nationals as well, presented by Great Southern Bank with My Place Hotels, all those wonderful partners, and of course, Casey's General Store that make it so possible. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed your time with us here tonight. Looking forward to seeing you on next week. We haven't worked out who that's going to be yet. There's some very good opportunities for us to talk to some really cool people. Have a great night, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you next week. Good night.